Hi there, I'm Rich from Hard Fight and I'm giving you a track by track, so a rundown of our new album Once More Time in the West. The first track on the album could only really be one, and that was the Suburban Knights. This track was kind of, it's one of the slightly older tracks on the record, in not the oldest, but it was like we had a rough kind of demo of this pretty much around the time I think we demoed it up when we were releasing the first album, and it was just like a groove and the chorus with the backing vocals, you know, and all those kind of bits, and it's just that, and it was just that kind of idea, and we started, you know, working on it as we were out touring. We actually started playing it, played it out live, and it kind of developed, and then it became something even else. But this, for the final kind of incarnation on the record, we never said this has got to be the first record on the album or the first single, but it just felt right. You know, it felt like it's a little bit of a bridge between our first record, Stars CCTV, and this one. It's kind of about lots of things, really. It was kind of one of those things where it's your head's in lots of different places at once, but its general idea is for anyone who's ever felt sort of a bit disenfranchised, or I don't know if anyone else has ever felt the same. Maybe it was just me, but I remember sitting at home, probably aged about 18 or 19, thinking that there's some party going on somewhere, something's happening somewhere, and there must be, and I haven't been invited, you know. And this song is kind of like, I don't know, you always get people who like to look down on other people, and there's a particular journalist slagging off the suburbs and the people who live there as being just kind of ignorant, and there's nothing going on there, you know. And I thought it was pretty rich. That's because most people come from places like you know, like I do, like, you know, like, and there's some amazing people there. You have to be more creative when you're there because there isn't much going on, so you have to make something happen. And you know, we now, since the last record, toured the world and met a lot of people who came from towns just like ours, and we thought it was time to celebrate it and fight back. So track 2, out of Suburban Knights into I Shall Overcome. I Shall Overcome, similar to Suburban Knights, started off with like just a rough demo of a groove, you know, and a feel and an idea, and then we came to, when we were, you know, when I was writing the record before we went to the studio, kind of finished it off. And this song for me was always going to be called I Shall Overcome, I think, and it's kind of about the idea of someone there, kind of like sort of watching over you, looking out for you, and telling you when you're feeling down, when you're feeling like you can't go on or you need some kind of picking up, telling you not to give up, don't let the bastards drag you down, keep fighting, pick yourself up, dust yourself down, let's go, come on. And for me, you know, the person in the song was my old man, saying that, and that was just my little, you know, when you're tired and you think that things get on top of you, you kind of sometimes need something from somewhere to help you keep going. Love the groove in this track as well. The drums are enormous. Tonight is I don't know really, it's kind of one of those tracks which kind of developed and just kept going off in different directions. It starts on the piano, you know, it's quite moody, and then you get this 808 kick drum coming in and tearing up your speakers. And I love that kind of juxtaposition of two things you wouldn't kind of expect. And the kick drum plays the melody almost in the bass. And tonight it's like, you always have this thing like things are different at night, you know. It's like you can walk around somewhere during the day and it can be the same old place, whatever, but at night kind of there's always this slight feeling that anything could happen. You know, like possibilities. You know, I always used to go out every night and sort of think that maybe tonight will be different to all the others. Maybe tonight something amazing will happen, and tonight I'll meet the girl of my dreams or whatever. And this song is kind of you know, about that. You know, in the song it's like this guy saying, you know, tonight I'm getting out of here. But you know what? If you're not coming with me, then that's it. This is our chance tonight. Because if you won't come with me, I'm not going. But it's kind of shit or bust, I guess. Watch Me Fall Apart. Obviously, very string based, this track. You know, we had Will Malone, who arranged the strings for Massive Attack on Up in the Symphony, and did the Verve albums, Northern Soul and Urban Hymns, and did all those stuff. So amazing pedigree, and he's done loads of things as well. But they're the ones that we kind of really were raving about. And you know, he arranged the strings for tracks on the album. We always used strings and brass and stuff like that on the last record, but it was all out of a sampler, you know. And this time we had the opportunity, because the record company were daft enough to pay for it, to do it for real, you know. And this track was always written with strings in mind, and so it wasn't really until we actually had them come in and play it that it started coming together. But cause all it is like it's just this one, it's a drum loop with the strings over the top. But it needed something else. We couldn't work out what it was, and it wasn't until we was driving to the studio one day and started singing this weird line, and that became the backing vocal line that you hear running through it. And then it suddenly all came together with that. It's basically the song about, you know, you're in a relationship where, you know, I think you thought you knew what was going on, and you thought you knew how you felt, and you thought you had a handle on everything. And it's only when it's all over that you realise you didn't, and you made all the wrong choices, and you made all the wrong decisions, and now you can just see it. This guy's sitting there saying, you know, my life is in pieces. Mira mi vida como se desbarata. So that in Spanish. I Close My Eyes. This is the kind of the slightly nutty track on the record. It's kind of, along with Watch Me Fall Apart, which has become one of my favourites. Again, this is a kind of one of those that crept up. It was always there as a track that if we got time, we'd record it, you know, and see how it worked out. And yet we were kind of like, we love this track. We should do it. We should not wait. Just do it. And so we stuck it down in a day, and it was just a right laugh to do. And all the sound effects on there and all that kind of stuff, it was just like and it just kind of, it's nice, it's totally different to a lot of stuff on the record, but it still seems to fit, you know. It's hard to explain, you know. Obviously it's quite, if you listen to the lyrics, it's obvious what it's about being stuck in a dead-end job going nuts, and slowly going around a twist. Obviously being in a band isn't a dead-end job, it's the best thing you could ever do. Someone said, I've gone, it was the best day at work. Your worst day in a band is always better than your best day at work. But I've done enough of those shitty jobs to know the general vibe. And yeah, I can't wait to play this one live actually, it should be a gas. Out of I Close My Eyes into Television. This is a track where, again, dealing with a couple of things, you know, it's just sort of saying, you know, at the time, you know, you look around you and our country is obsessed with celebrity and obsessed with kind of being famous for nothing. There's a whole industry built up around it, magazines who need people to put in their pages, so they kind of make them famous so they can put them in their pages, and, you know, and people want to be famous for nothing. If I'm going to be famous, I want to be famous for doing something. So, you know, and it's just kind of always that, the amount of like sort of, you know, you have one reality TV show, then all of a sudden there's hundreds of them, they're flogging that dead horse. You have one talent show and all of a sudden there's thousands of them, you've got them running at the same time on either channel, you can't get away from them. And you kind of start seeing that kind of like going over into like politics. You see shows like Question Time, and the politicians are playing to the gallery. They don't seem to have any kind of belief in anything. They just sort of just want to say whatever's going to get them the most applause, or it's like they're in Big Brother and they're trying not to get evicted. And it seems to be that there's no substance there anymore, and which is always a dangerous thing, because people stop believing in people who want them to vote for them, and then they ain't going to bother voting for them. And when people don't bother to go and vote, that's when you get extremist groups get power, even if it's on a small scale in local government. You know, whenever they get that sort of thing, they get funding, they get money. So that was kind of my rant against kind of reality TV shows. Although I have to say, I have thought about it since, and if some girl, you know, is going to spend all day, you know, working her fingers to the bone in I don't know, in an office or in a supermarket or in the hairdressers or wherever, and she can go on a show and someone's daft enough to give her 100 grand. Good luck to her, I say. You know, why should everyone else get easy money or something? People like her not. Just don't make me watch it on telly. Help Me Please is, we actually recorded this song for the Help album. Kind of thought it got a bit overlooked, and it obviously means a lot to me, and we thought it's quite special. This is kind of a track about, you know, I had all my kind of dreams come true over the last 2 years. I've been knocking around trying to get bands together for just forever, since I was old enough to even think about it. And I've been in a band that, you know, kind of almost got there, got signed, got dropped, nothing happened, you know, usual story. In the last 2 years, everything's been like amazing. I've done all these things I ever dreamed of, but at the same time, I had kind of like a personal tragedy at the beginning of all that, and you're in this weird state where you don't know. You kind of start thinking that to have something good happen to you, you have to have something bad, and that can fuck you up. And a lot of the songs on this record were kind of me getting my head around that as well in some way, I suppose. Yes, help me please. Can't Get Along. This is mistakenly titled Can't Get Along, because it should be Can't Get Along, open brackets, Without You, close brackets. This is like, I think this is the oldest song on the record. It was, this could have gone on Stars of CCTV, but it just didn't feel right, you know. We always thought it could be #1. It was a great track. We've never had any, you know, it's not like we've had any problems with it. It just sort of didn't feel it was fitted for that record. And so we took a gamble that we'd ever be allowed to make another album. Fortunately we were. And so we recorded it, and it just felt right this time. And it's kind of an old soul feel, but you know, we love a lot of soul music. You know, soul music is in the DNA of Hi-Fi. I love the way you can get a tune that makes you want to dance, makes you want to sing, but still says something to you, or there's a lyric or a vocal that just kind of breaks your heart. And this track is, yeah, maybe it will be #1 one day. We Need Love. We played some shows in Brixton Academy, and we were lucky enough and privileged enough to have Billy Bragg as our special guest. And after that, he sent me his book, and it's a great book. You should read it. It's called The Progressive Patriot. And the day I got it, I just stuck it. I had it on the piano there, my old honky-tonk piano, and I started playing this melody, came out of nowhere to the words on the back sleeve, and that became We Need Love. Obviously I changed the words because, you know, Billy's a nice guy, but he's not going to let you take the piss. And it's track, you know, kind of a little bit inspired by him, and looking around at the time when it came together, you know, there was lots of stuff going on with, after the 7/7 bombings in London, and after at the time I think Israel invaded Lebanon, and there was also kind of civil war starting to kick off there as well. And then, you know, close to home, you started to look around, and people were getting edgy, people were getting nervous, people were getting sort of maybe paranoid or what, you know, scared, and beginning to get into camps and take sides. And you know, that was almost the last thing we needed. And this song was just a kind of a plea to say, you know, like, wherever you are, you know, there's a lot more of us around that have a lot more in common, and let's celebrate that. The penultimate track on the record. We describe this as Christina Aguilera having a knife fight with The Clash in a Northern Soul club. It's just called Little Angel, and I've been sitting here telling you about what all these different songs are about, and this song is just basically about someone saying I love you to, you know, and I need you, but it's mainly about just basically sort of turning up loud and throwing yourself around. Can't wait to play this one live. Big sort of brass number. Yeah, it was kind of one of those tracks that kind of came together more like a dance track than a traditional rock track, I guess. and it was actually, again, it was quite an old track. One day we'll put out the original demo of it, which was like really rocky, and we just sort of like, you know, I like this track, but we want to do something different with it. Yeah, so look out for that. I don't know, I'm sure it'll be out somewhere. There's always avenues for that kind of thing, isn't there? Finally, The King. The King was the sort of youngest track on the album. It kind of came together. We were in the studio. Just came up with these chords and this melody, and just the first line, in this town I used to be the king here, now I'm in a thing here. And I couldn't put my finger on what it was about it that said something to me. And I wrote the rest of the song, and it was a story about someone who, it's basically someone who, you know, goes home trying to find something he's lost. You know, he's probably, you know, in this song he's trying to find a girl he loved, and her house has been pulled down, which kind of means, you know, that's it, that's final. And I kind of got that idea from a Dean Parrish track called Broken Bottles and Sticks. So that was that, and I, you know, and it came together, and we tried loads of different ways of doing it, and eventually came back to the original way. And I realised later that it was what the song actually was about, was kind of losing, I guess, like an innocence and that you had. You know, I came home. When my dad died, I came home, moved home, and went around this town where I used to, you know, once upon a time I used to walk around and I'd know everybody. You know, it used to be your place. You'd know every corner, and all the people I knew there had either moved on or, you know, I don't know, settled down, whatever, and just weren't around. There was ghosts everywhere. And you sort of kind of have that yearning for a time when, you know, you didn't have any responsibilities, you didn't have any worries, you didn't, you know, real life hadn't caught up with you at that point. You know, the people you love were indestructible, and you just lived life for what it was, and used to have fun, and didn't have to deal with the day to day. You just kind of, you know, you can never get that back, unfortunately. But that's life, isn't it? So there you go, that was Once Upon a Time in the West. I hope you like the album. I hope you go and check it out. You know, if you don't like it, take it back. You know, we're really proud of it. We think it's really great, and yeah, just check it out, see what you think. If you like it, tell your friends, come to a show, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Take it easy.